Peeps, good morning. Actually, it's the afternoon. Today is Sunday, what's the date? September 11th. The vlog today, oh, by the way, look, check this out. Do you remember I showed you this in my wedding vlog? Well, that's what it looks like when everybody signed it. Isn't that cool? So here's the itinerary for today. I gotta have a heart-to-heart with you guys very quickly. Basically, at the beginning of the school year, I decided that I was gonna change my diet around. You know, I'm not really happy with where my weight's been at. And this is a common story for me because I have problems with controlling myself around food. I find that taste is such an important factor for me that I always go after it when I can. I hope the wind's not hitting the thing. So, you know, seeing all the pictures of me at the wedding, just the weight that I'm at right now, and I just don't like the look. I don't like how swollen I am. So I decided at the beginning of the school year that I was gonna change my diet around, and I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing in order to do that. That's almost all our food. Just finished at the coffee shop, heading back to school. Well, not back to school, I'm heading to school for the first day of the week. I'm so tired. We are on the concourse level right now, which is a big underground section of Toronto. Revolving doors that you don't even have to touch. Some fancy shit. So this is gonna be my route every Monday because Charity's gonna need the car every Monday, essentially. We were on the concourse level, so essentially that means that during the winter time you can go down underground and walk through this massive path, essentially, where you don't have to go upstairs and walk in the snow or anything like that. And there are a bunch of shops down there, and that's also where my wife's coffee shop is. And yeah, so Monday mornings I come in, I help her do the bagels, I help her do the eggs, and then I end up walking to the nearest train station, subway station, and that's basically my Monday. Quiet terminal, nobody around. It's kind of nice, actually. On the other side. Out and on the street, 2 seconds away, actually about 3 or 4 minutes away from school. About to get inside, grab some breakfast. I'm starving. Luckily I have all my lunches. And then we start our day, peeps. Currently, we just finished class. John DeCosta and I stayed back and we decided to do some math. That's typically our approach to dealing with math questions. What we do is we sit in a classroom that we're allowed to be sitting in, and we get onto the blackboard and we start doing the questions that we have a difficulty with. And we found that by actually doing that, we get better and better at doing the math. So that's what we did as of just now. We finished and we're about to basically head off and do our own thing. Peeps, what's going on? It is it's 8:05 right now. in the evening. I know that it looks like this normally in the morning when I get up, but it's not the morning, it's actually the nighttime. So currently we just got home. We left at 6 p.m. I don't know, just a quick heart-to-heart with you guys. The tempers at home are a bit bad right now. There's a bit of a warring issue right now with my wife and I, and it has a lot to do with just us being grumpy, waking up early, going to bed late. And I gotta be honest, I'm coming down with something. I'm sick, my throat's hurting, I'm seeing white spots at the back of my throat, which is usually early symptoms or signs of strep throat, which is a common thing that I seem to get, which I absolutely hate. Hopefully it's not so serious and I go to bed early and it's not a big deal, but unfortunately I think the damage is already done and it's going to be set in and antibiotics will need to be used. We're going to essentially just continue trying to get things done, work things out. I hope to go to bed really early tonight. Just want to give you an update as where I am. I think I'm overtired, and that's why my immune system is down and that my throat's starting to hurt. Good morning, peeps. Today is Thursday. You know what that means? It's crunch day. I just got to school. It is 6:30 in the morning. I am currently dealing with a sore throat. My throat was on fire the moment I woke up this morning. But you know, you gotta continue on, you gotta keep plugging away. Tomorrow's our big test, so tonight I'm gonna show you guys hopefully how I tend to study, the process I go through, which is long, which is arduous, but I always get the marks that I'm looking for, which is a good thing. And hopefully you learned something today about it. This week during plumbing school, what we learned was something called circuit venting. Circuit venting is essentially it's a way of venting a plumbing system in a way cheaper manner. I remember when we first started learning about it, I called my dad, I said, Dad, we should have circuit vented this job, we should have circuit vented another job. There's a lot of jobs that we should have done like that, but unfortunately, didn't know how to do it. So for next time, you know what I mean? For next time. So right now, I'm gonna go inside and hopefully I'm gonna be able to sit down and work just a little bit on my song so I can, you know, clear my mind and get things going. And then we have a day of classes, a day of theory, and after theory, we just gotta basically sit down and plug away, you know what I'm saying? The cafe is absolutely empty, as it usually is at 6:30 in the morning. The only people here are the ladies working at Tim Hortons. And then I saw some contractors today in the parking lot. Crunch time is finally over. It is 9:30. I'm with my wife. Hey. We're heading home now. Did you have a good night?
No.
Why?
It was fine.
It was fine. My wife was kind enough to stay with me till 9:30 p.m. at night while I was memorizing everything I could on circuit venting.
My friend just made wax.
I don't know what that means. So, got to school at night. We are leaving at night. It's just one of those days when you have to basically crunch, like it said, crunch time. I had to crunch in all that memorization. Unfortunately, I did not do enough during the week in order to actually make this day a bit easier, so instead, had to stay late tonight. What you saw there was me constantly writing down the same sentences over and over until I could do it by heart. It's a long, tedious process, but I find that for me, it makes sure that I do definitely get all the information crammed in my head and ready to put down on the test tomorrow. The teacher tends to go straight from his notes. So the good thing is once you've memorized them, the sentences that appear on the actual test are the exact same ones you memorized already. So that's why I basically figured out this process and stuck with it for the past 2 years. I used to do this with tests way back when I was in elementary school, but when I got into university I was taking philosophy, which is essay based, so it was absolutely useless unless I took an elective that had to do with memorization, which I typically did well in. One thing I want to show you guys is my campus is called George Brown Casa Loma campus, and the reason is because of this guy right down there. You see that purple light thing? Well, that's a castle called Casa Loma, and it's right by our school, which was built next to it. This thing was built in the early 1900s, 1906 or something like that. Just yesterday, Charity and I were looking up all the information about it, and apparently a lot of people have their wedding receptions. And true story, when we were first looking for where to keep our reception or take our reception, we did look into Casa Loma, but automatically decided that it would probably be way too much money, and we didn't even look into how much it would actually cost. Now you know why my school is called what it is. The doors of Casa Loma. We just happened to be driving by it, so there it is. It's fancy, huh? Just woke up 5:35 in the morning, and it's our second test day, week 2. Let's go kick some ass. Good morning once again. It is that day, and it is that time. Gotta go inside, gotta keep prepping for the test, make sure I know a little bit of stuff from last week because it's definitely gonna be on the test. And then we're off to the test. Second test, week 2. Let's see how we do. Finished the test, just got home. I'll tell you about the test in a bit, but what I have to do now is go to the doctor and make sure I'm doing well, get checked out, and maybe get medication for what I think is strep throat. I'm not sure yet. Alrighty, peeps, got out of the doctor's office. Good news, it is not strep throat. It's a little bit of a windy day, but I'm taking you to the park here. Alright, the sun is in my face. So I've been indoors the entire week, so I thought it would be really nice to just come out here and sit in a park for a little bit of time. Here's what happened today. Got to school, the guys showed up, all my plumbing buddies showed up around 7-ish, and from 7, I'd say 15 to 8 o'clock, we did a little studying in a group setting, and then at 8 o'clock we got upstairs and we started studying, or we started our test. Guys, this test was rough times, eh? And that's the hardest part about tests like this. With tests that are so detail-oriented, you really gotta sit down and you really gotta hammer out the notes over and over and over again until you know them off by heart. I don't know what I got, you know? Honestly, I don't know if I did well, I don't know. I don't think I did poorly, knock on wood, but at the same time, I don't know if I made some mistakes here and there. I don't know. Overall, this week was interesting. We got further along on our projects, which are a wet vented group on the top floor of a building. Did our very first isometric drawing class, which I had such a fun time doing. Excuse me. Overall, it was definitely a tougher week than it was last week. Last week was more of a review session, but this week we hammered out a bunch of new theory that had to do with circuit venting. And circuit venting, like I was telling you before, has a lot of different stipulations to it. So although in theory it's a simpler, better way of doing a vent in order to save money and save the amount of pipes you use, at the same time you really gotta know what those rules are, or else you break the rules and you end up having to change the job and change the amount of pipes you're introducing into the venting system. So it's really, really interesting. There's a surprise of something between Charity and I coming up, and I want to tell you guys right now, we officially booked our honeymoon, and our honeymoon will take place in November, and we are going to Hawaii. I'm not excited just yet because there's so much work between now and then that I don't feel like I have the luxury to get excited. I fear that if I do get excited, then it's gonna take away from the intensity of my studying and the intensity of my work ethic. I typically get like this before vacations because what ends up happening is I don't get excited till I start packing the bags. And once we get in the car driving to the airport, that's when all the excitement kicks in. But anyways, peeps, that's week 2 of my 8 weeks in intermediate plumbing school at George Brown. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Please let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys very soon. Kenny Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.